Welcome to the Scottish Rite Journal podcast, an audio presentation of the Scottish Rite Journal, brought to you by the Supreme Council of the Scottish Rite, Southern Jurisdiction, Mother Supreme Council of the world. This week's article is Compassion at the Foundation of All the World's Religious Traditions by Michael W. Wharton, 32nd degree, and comes from the January-February 2021 issue of the Scottish Rite Journal. Religious tolerance is at the heart of Freemasonry. This is evident from the constitutions of 1723, which provide that Masons are obliged only to that religion in which all men agree, leaving their own particular opinions to themselves. This provision of tolerance embodies the goal of uniting, rather than dividing, men of various sects and opinions. Indeed, in his book A Bridge to Light explaining the Scottish Rite degrees and very often their connections to ideas in world religions, Rex R. Hutchins, 33rd degree, asks as a reflection question to the 10th degree whether he should not be tolerant even of intolerance. Page 64. Freemasonry emphasizes the principle that there is value in all of the world's faiths, for, as Albert Pike notes in Morals and Dogma, the great truths form the basis of all religions. Understanding other religions and philosophical traditions will help us to attain greater truth and knowledge. After all, Freemasons, deriving doctrines from a variety of traditions, are justly known as Knights of the East and West. As the poet Goethe, a Mason, says in his West Eastern Divan, "To God belongs the Orient, to God belongs the Occident." One set of values running like a thread through all of the major religious traditions of the world is compassion, empathy, or selflessness. Compassion is the ability to take the perspective of and feel the emotions of another person combined with a desire to help that other person. When we study and compare various religions, we find that compassion is at the root of all major traditions as the basis for human perfection and salvation. For Hindus, selflessness is the key to salvation. The spiritual goal of Hinduism is moksha, or liberation from the cycle of life and death. According to Hinduism, the soul's natural desire for pleasure, wealth, and success may be pursued as long as they are pursued ethically. Hindus understand, however, that pleasure, wealth, and success are trivial and bring only limited satisfaction. Hindus believe that the soul's true desire is infinite being, knowledge, and bliss. Similarly, Buddhists teach that selfishness is the cause of dissatisfaction with life, a condition of suffering. Selfish craving is the result of separating ourselves from life, which are actually one unified existence. Suffering is relieved by overcoming selfish craving or the egotistical drive for a separate existence. Buddhists teach that we must see others as extensions of ourselves. For Buddhists, compassion, generosity, loving kindness, appreciation, equanimity, and connectedness are the natural qualities of our heart's minds, but are buried beneath the survival mechanisms of selfishness. The Buddhist's goal is nirvana, or the complete annihilation or extinguishing of the finite self or private desire, and everything that restricts the boundless life. It is pure bliss, limitless mind, thoughts, feelings, and will. In Chinese culture, Confucius taught that one should increase his heart and mind to include all humanity. He formulated a version of Golden Rule, which encompasses goodness, benevolence, and selflessness. Taoism, a stream in Chinese culture in many ways at odds with Confucianism, also eschews selfishness in favor of compassion. The realization of the Tao, or the Way, enjoins humility and living a simple life, discouraging interest in material things which ultimately lead to dissatisfaction. Taoists also discourage harshness and aggressiveness towards others, as well as pomp, ceremony, and extravagance. James Legg's pithy verse translation of a passage from the Tao Te Ching of Lao Tse's recommends simple views and courses plain and true, with selfish ends and many lusts eschew. Judaism's views on ethics and morality also stresses selflessness. The Jewish notion is that humans must contain their appetites or passions if human existence is to continue. The Ten Commandments provide a certain minimum standard of behavior in order to make collective life possible, and all of these relate to how we should treat our fellow man with compassion. In the mystical tradition of the Kabbalah, referenced often in our Scottish Rite degrees and literature, Hesed, or kindness-compassion, is one of the 10 emanations of the tree of the Zephyroth. The central thrust of Christianity is also selflessness and compassion. Jesus advocated a new scheme of values, and his message was that everyone is entitled to empathy and God's salvation. He taught that God has overwhelming love for humanity, and that we should accept that love and let it flow to others. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. We read in John chapter 15, verse 13, an exemplary passage emphasizing compassion. In the Spirit, Jesus' life was one of humility, self-giving, strength, integrity, and love for his followers to emulate. The Christian concept of sin is grounded in selfishness, for we sin by being self-centered. By contrast, the concept of selfless or altruistic love is heavily stressed in Christianity. Agape, the love of which Christians speak, is love as compassion rather than love as attachment. Love as attachment, the lowest form of love, is possessive and jealous and causes suffering. Christianity teaches us, instead, to follow one charitable love, the drive to help strangers and to be compassionate and benevolent to others. Islam spells out a way of living on a straight path that has, at its foundation, a command for selflessness. According to Muslims, God's revelation began when Abraham proclaimed monotheism, continued when Moses proclaimed the Ten Commandments, and continued again when Jesus recommended living according to the Golden Rule, or loving your neighbor as yourself. Islam teaches that Muhammad picked up where Jesus left off by providing specifics for how we are to love our neighbor. These specifics are known as the 5 pillars of Islam, which include being charitable, fasting during Ramadan, which is designed, in part, to sensitize us to compassion, and a pilgrimage to Mecca which reminds us of human equality. Islam's teachings also encourage courtesy and dignity toward others, and its basic objective for interpersonal relationships is brotherly and sisterly love. In the search for common ground among the world's various faiths, we find that compassion, empathy, and selflessness make up the trunk of the tree from which all religious traditions branch. Even further, it is the practice of compassion, empathy, and selflessness which enables us to look beyond our religious differences and find unity in our brotherhood. It is a crucial aspect in what Masons call that religion in which all men agree. Like and share this article, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you wish to comment, please leave one, and as a reminder, hit the notifications bell. Any accompanying photographs or citations for this article can be found in the corresponding print edition. The Scottish Rite Journal is published by the Supreme Council of the Scottish Rite, Southern Jurisdiction, Mother Supreme Council of the World. Mark Dreisenstock, 33rd degree, Managing Editor. I'm your host, Matt Bowers.